Hello, this is Yasmin speaking, and I hope you enjoyed this basic one-stroke tutorial for nail art. Today for this tutorial we'll be using flat square brushes. Not all flat square brushes are good for this nail art. Some can be too thick and some can be too long for the hair length. When you have too long of a hair length, it is difficult when you begin drawing on the surface of the curved nail. Also, the longer hair, the bigger the design. Also, because of the square shape that the gel brushes have, some people make the mistake to think that the gel brush could also be used for this kind of nail art. However, this will cause problems because usually the gel brushes are thicker than the ones that we will be using today on this video. Towards the end of the tutorials, we will also be using the stripper brushes and a dotting tool to complete our designs. As you can see, we will be using water-based acrylic colors. However, we need them to be thick. We don't want them to be too watery. We will be dipping the brush in these colors, so we needed to have like a little lump. For wiping our brushes, we will be using regular paper towel. This is only to wipe the brush when we need to clean it in the water. The correct way to wipe your brush is lengthwise. Do one side first lengthwise, then the second side. Try not to wipe your brush back and forth or in circular motion. This is just a view of the colors of Onihomania's Yasmin that we will be using for this tutorial. Okay, now we are ready to get started. As you can see, I have already the 2 drops of the 2 colors I have selected to begin making our petals. I am dipping my brush in the water at the moment. I'm wiping on the paper towel. The brush has been wet and wiped on the paper towel. And now we will proceed to pick up the colors. We will always try to pick up the colors one at a time. Always pick the light color first. As you can see, you only pick one tip to about the center of the hairs. Now we pick the darker color or the second color we have selected till the both colors meet at the center. Now we proceed to wipe the brush. At this point, we are only preparing our brush. We're not ready to do the design yet. Slowly, as you pass the brush over and over again, you will see that where the 2 colors meet, you will start and begin to get a beautiful gradient effect between the 2 colors. I'm not happy with this yet, so I'm going to do the same procedure a second time. We dip on the lighter color one more time, dip on the dark one, and we're going to wipe again. As you see, every time I wipe the brush, the 2 colors at the center where they meet, they make a beautiful gradient effect. Now I'm happy with it, so I'm going to pick up color and we're going to try our first petal. When you're ready to do the nail art and your brush has been full with the color, then the wiping will be a lot shorter and smaller, only on one side. When you wipe, the side you wipe is the side that you use for making the petals. I wiped to the right, so I drew my petal from left to right. As you can see, we have a lot of color left on the brush. we are not always going to wash or clean the brush in the water. We can get rid of the extra color by pressuring and getting rid of all of the color from the brush to always keep the brush thin and sharp. Now we're going to dip. This time I want to show you that we're going to wipe the brush towards the left. At the beginning we wipe to the right and we drew to the right. Now we will wipe to the left and draw our petal with the side that we wiped towards the left. And now I think we're ready to go to our practice sheet. Okay, here we are going to begin the first petal. This is the simple petal. I have picked up my color, I have wiped to the right, and I begin making my petal to the right. Once we reach towards the end of the petal, we lift and go. We're going to make a second one and I will describe to you the movements. At the beginning, no pressure. Press towards the outside of the petal. Turn the brush within your fingers. Lift pressure and go back to the beginning. The third petal we're going to make, I'm just going to change the colors. We will be putting the light color outside of the petal. So this is your choice. You can either put the darker color towards the outside or the lighter color. One more time. No pressure. Pressure, turn, lift. My brush is a little bit full of color. I am going to wipe the color off. Okay, we are going to create the fourth petal. Now, see that when you begin, there's a little tip created at the light color. When you're going to finish the petal, you must go back to the same tip where you began. Now we are going to continue. Here we're going to make some petals wider and some petals less wide. As you can see, at the end, I go back to the tip that is created at the beginning when we begin the petal. The second one, we're going to make it less wide. One more time, we begin no pressure. The little tip is created at the light color. Turn and finish at the tip that you created at the beginning of the petal. Let's make it up still more narrow. You turn less and you close. And now we're going to make a really narrow one, which it will be the petal that is mostly used for margarita. You can always correct if there is a little mistake or you don't like your petal. You can overlap the paint. Now I'm going to remove the extra paint from my brush. I'm going to pick up color again, and we are going to do the double petal. The double petal we can do with a continuous movement, as you can see here. We press, turn into our fingers, down to the original center tip. Again, the pressure up, lift pressure, and close at the tip. We will do it one more time, and I will always try in each time that we do the same thing to describe to you a different thing that you need to look at or you need to be careful with. No pressure. Pressure, turn between your fingers, back to the tip, the same pressure, lift pressure only when you reach the end, and close. Now this pedal you can do it continuously, or you can do it like the next one that I'm going to show you, with two narrow pedals as we did before. You do one narrow pedal, lift pressure, close, and begin a second narrow pedal, turn, and back to the tip. We will repeat this one more time, and I'll try to describe as I do the movements. Continuously, pressure, turn, down, turn, and down, and lift pressure. Again, in the continuous pedal, we do the pressure one time and we do not lift pressure till the end of the pedal. One more time. Pressure, close, pressure, turn, and close to the original tip that was created. Again, if you don't like it, you can overlap the same movement again. And this is the one that you do it with two different pedals. Close, pressure, turn, and close. This creates a little bit of a detail right at the center of the pedal. So it depends on what pedal you want to continue to make, with more detail or more continuous. See that when I do the separate pedals, the colors need to meet, dark with dark and light with light. Hello, this is Yasmin speaking again. Welcome to the second part of our one-stroke tutorial for nail art. We are going to continue in our practice sheet. Now we are going to make triple petals. For the triple petals, we're going to make a guide. This is where the tip of the petal should always be. We begin a little bit to the side, turn between the fingers, down to the tip we created, the pressure towards the outside, turn between the fingers, down to the tip we created, pressure, turn, and we must always finish at the tip that we created. We're going to make a second triple petal with a continuous movement. The tip, again, we begin a little bit towards the side. We're going to place our colors correctly, the rose, the pink to the outside. Turn, tip, pressure, turn between the fingers and to the tip, pressure, turn between the fingers and to the tip. I want you to see that the petals are creating already a circular shape towards the outside of the flower. We don't want them to come out in a straight line. We want them to have a little bit of movement. Create your guide. We're gonna use the dark color outside at this moment. And now we're going to make the first movement. The second movement, we're going to take it a little bit further up and down to the tip, and then the last movement is the same size as the first one. This way we create a triple petal having a center higher than the rest. We are going to continue making triple petals. Let's make one which all the petals are the same height. Turn and close at the tip. Now the next one we're going to create, it will be a much higher center movement. What I want you to be careful with is when you're making the movement to go higher, you go in a straight line. You do not turn your brush yet. Pressure. Turn between your fingers carefully. Back to the tip. Now you move completely in a straight line. Once you reach the height you want, then you turn. You close. Then you turn between your fingers. And the last movement needs to be the same height with the first one. Let's make it one more time. I'm getting rid of some color. And again, we turn between the fingers, lift in a straight line, turn between your fingers, and one more time turn and close. Okay, the next petal we are going to be creating is a lot more wider, but it still has the same finishing point. This petal is used a lot for the pansy flower. We want it about this wide. I have made my guides. If you like, you can do it. If you don't need it, you don't have to make this. You pressure and you keep the same pressure all the time. Then you begin going back and forth. You can see the hair, how it moves back and forth. And whenever you want to do the turning, which you do it like every 2 or 3 movements, you turn when you are on the outside of the petal. Outside turn, and finish. Let's do it one more time. I'm going to prepare my brush. And let's begin. This time I'm going to do it with no marks. Same pressure, you don't release pressure for this. Turn when you're outside. Turn on the outside. Turn. This will give the circular form to the petal. Again, this petal is perfect and is mostly used to create the pansy flower. Now we continue to move to the petals that we can use for creating the rose. These petals, they don't have just one center little point. However, the center is a lot smaller than the outside of the petal. We do it the same way that we did the previous petal. Once we pressure, we keep the pressure. Outside, we turn 1, 2, turn 1, 2, turn 1, 2, and turn. You don't need to turn every single time you go to the outside of the petal. It's every 2 or 3 times. And close. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush, I'm going to pick up color, and we're going to continue to do this petal. In the next 2 petals I'm going to make, we're going to do the same thing we did previously. See how the hair of the brush makes a movement like a zigzag. This is what would do the gradient effect on the petal. Now, I don't really like the way the gradient came out on this, so I want you to understand that you don't need to be afraid. You can overdraw on top of it with a slower motion or a little bit more pressure till you get the colors the way you would like them. Let's repeat the same procedure one more time. Again, once we pressure, we don't release pressure. I'm doing it really quick. Quick, okay? See how the gradient is not so nice? So we just go over again with a slower movement, bigger turns, letting the zigzag do the work. And look at how beautiful the gradient came out on that petal. Now, between these two nails, I am going to make another petal, just giving a little bit of a higher point right at the center of it. It's a little bit of a variation, so when you want to make your roses, maybe you would like to do it this way. So I will do my petal the same exact way. Remember, we turn between our fingers when we are on the outside of the petal. We do the higher point and we go back down, and we just created another version of the same petal. Okay, this next petal is completely different. We begin on the left, we finish on the right. We must start and finish parallel. So we make a line, we press to the side, and we go down, creating a little line. These two little lines that are created, beginning and end of this petal, are very important because this is only the upper part of the petal. Line and again. I don't like the colors the way they came out too much. I'm going to overdo it. We redo it. And that's much better. Let's do it one more time. Like I was telling you, this is only the upper part to complete. This is used for the center of the roses or for rose buds. Again, line, pressure, line. And now this is the bottom part. The same thing is applied. The line, only that the pressure and the turning is towards you, and then you go up. Here we're going to combine both, the upper part and the bottom part. First one is the upper part. And now we must place the colors on the nail with the same colors, purple with purple, pink with pink, line, pressure to the side, and close with a line. Let's do it one more time. Just make sure that when you do it at the center, there is no empty space or any space without color. This is why it's important. You make the upper part of the petal, then the colors must meet exactly together. You turn and close. Okay, our next movement is just a movement, as you can see. We call it the comma. What we need to do is just a little line. This is a decorative line, a completing line. So it's worked like a comma. You press, turn slightly, and close. You kind of lift away on the air and lift. I'm going to pick up some more color and we're going to do it one more time. Now I want you to see and understand the movement that we just made. So we're going to make the center of the rose like we learned a few minutes ago. And now I'm going to make a rosebud, completing it with the comma movement. Press and go on the air. You press, comma, and go. Now when they cross over, the crossing over should be one under the other. And one more. And beautiful. Oh well, this is the end of this tutorial. Remember, your feedback is very important to me. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Hello, this is Yasmin speaking, and I welcome you to the third part of our tutorial of one stroke for nail art. Now we're just going to give you some ideas of the petals that we did in part 1 and 2, how they can be used to create some designs. For this design, I'm going to use 3 simple petals to create half of a flower. I created the top petal first. Then the bottom petal, the third petal I'm going to put a little bit closer to the first petal, leaving space so I can complete my design with the stripper brush. We create the center. Then on the empty space that I left between the 2 petals, we complete putting a line. Then we create a few little dots at the end of the line that we just made. And this is a very nice and simple flower for any short nail. We use the dotting for the little dots. Now if you don't dip the dotting again, you will get gradual dots. Let's do one more time. This is for half of a flower with 3 simple petals. You can leave the space on top of the second petal or at the bottom of the second petal. Or you can choose not to leave any space at all. Now, when you go to create the petal at the bottom, be careful to turn your brush so your colors are correct. This is a mistake that we can make very easily. Once we begin to make the bottom petals, we keep the brush the same way that we had it for the top petal, and then our colors are reversed. On the next nail, we're going to use a combination, just any combination. Simple petals, double, triple, but you can also connect them. And when you do it with a separate movement, as you can see that I'm doing, you can get a very beautiful effect. Now we're going to do the bottom. Remember to turn your brush. Make sure that the right color is toward the center of the flower, and we create the bottom until they meet. Like I said, here there's no rules. We're just making a pretty flower with the movements we have learned. I'm taking out the extra paint from my brush, making sure my brush is nice and flat and thin. I have picked New Color Up. And now we are going to do half of a butterfly. we're going to use a double petal, where the first movement is going to be bigger, and then for the second part of the butterfly, we're going to use a simple big petal. Again, be careful with the colors. We have the dark color toward the center, so I'm keeping this time the dark color towards the center. And that's your butterfly. Later on, you can complete it with the stripping brush or the dotting tool. Now we're going to do a full-size butterfly, meaning we're going to create a butterfly with both of its wings. I'm going to use one double petal to the right. I turn my brush for turning the colors, one double petal to the left. I'm going to clean my brush, pick up the colors again, and now I'm going to complete the butterfly with simple petals. But this time I want to make the dark color towards the inside. So one simple petal, a second simple petal. See that I left some space right at the middle, which later on I will complete with a stripper brush. Okay, we have created some designs with our petals, but where are the leaves? Let's create our leaves now. When we're going to create the leaf, it's a little bit different. We need to make a thin line like we did for the rosebud. Then we pressure completely to the side, and when we want to finish our leaf, we move upward and start lifting pressure from the brush. Let's do it one more time. Softly make the beginning and the tip of the bottom of the leaf, pressure to the side, and as you lift, you move upward. Let's see this movement one more time. It looks easy, but it's not going to be easy. Again, very light pressure, create a little line to the side and upward. Line, side, up, and lift. Now let me teach you with the same movement, we're going to connect two leaves together. We make our first leaf, side, up and lift. Now since we have the light color, up, okay, we make sure that the colors show and lift. I'm going to wipe my brush, and we're going to make a longer version of this leaf. So we make the line, and with the same pressure we're going to move upward. Slowly we're going to release pressure, and we end at a pointy leaf. Let's do it one more time. We're gonna get our colors. Here we go. We make the line, pressure to the side, with the same pressure upward, upward, and lift. If you see, for the longer leaf, I put the darker color on the outside. I believe it shows better. Now I'm going to pick up my colors, and we're going to try to do the same towards the other direction. We're going to be moving left this time. line. The pressure, of course, changes towards the left, upward, and lift. Let's do it one more time. I'm picking up my colors. Lightly align the pressure to where you want to direct your leaf, up and lift. Now let's give movement to our leaves. We make the line, we press to the side, we release pressure, we press to the side again, then we move forward and lift. I'm going to pick up new color. And let's do it one more time. Line, press to the side, lift a little bit the pressure, line, press, lift, and done. Oh well, this is the end of this tutorial. Remember, your feedback is very important to me. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Hello, this is Yasmin speaking. I welcome you to the fourth part of our one-stroke tutorial for nail art. Now let's continue to make the full leaf. Before, we made the simple leaf. Now we want to make a whole leaf. Here, we need to be careful. When we're drawing, we make the one side just like we did the simple leaf. And when we're going to do the movement for the second side, we must make sure that the light color keeps on touching the light color, and we turn between our fingers the dark color towards the outside. Now, if you try to do it one half first, and then the other half, you may have as a result exactly what I have here. There's a little empty space inside. So I'm just gonna go right over it with one movement, up, open to the outside, and close. Let's do it one more time. Like I said, I'm going to pick up color again, because when we go back and forth in such long strokes, the colors get mixed. Up like the regular leaf, center, and now dark with dark, light with light, and we wanted the colors to keep touching each other. So now I go down, I keep the light color with the light color, I turn in my fingers so that the other color goes outside, and that's the full leaf. One more time, and I just want you to be careful and look at all details. Line, pressure, lift, down, open, and close. Now let's continue to make another type of leaf. We can also connect petals with the simple leaf. We can make a double petal, and then color with color, and a simple leaf. This is another type of leaf that we can use for different flowers. Now we're going to do a whole leaf, but instead of leaving it simple, we're going to make it wave, kind of like we did for the rose petals. We do the center one. Now I'm picking up color again. Like I said, the colors when you make such long strokes, they can get mixed. And now I'm going to connect to it one double petal on the left side, and another double petal on the right side. And there you go. Now I'm going to leave you to practice and create many designs of your own. According to your response and how you like this video, we will continue to make more tutorials for you. Thank you again. well, this is the end of this tutorial. Remember, your feedback is very important to me. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.